What's up, y'all? Down South 77 here again, and this is 3 Star Draw. This is an adult collector channel where we talk about G.I. Joe and things related to G.I. Joe, primarily G.I. Joe Classified, because that's what I'm into in the world of G.I. Joe right now. And if you are here, I'm guessing you probably are too. So if you're just now finding the channel, I'd like to welcome you here. If you're a returning viewer, I would like to welcome you back. Appreciate it. If you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment. I try to respond to pretty much all of them one way or the other. So I'd like to know what you think about what I'm doing wrong, what I'm doing right. Let me know. I am open for criticism. So this is my Limelight series. This is my series where I focus on a figure and a character that has been out for a little while. I have gone back and had to recollect or had collect the beginnings of the line because I was not into it when they first come out. So a lot of these figures I never got a chance to do any kind of review or whatever on. I just opened them up and played with them, set them up, displayed them, pictures, whatever, but I never really did any kind of a proper review or took a hard look at the character itself. So that's what this channel is about. And it's been crazy with the holidays, just now getting to get back to it. New Year's Eve right now. So today's video is the result of a poll I put up on my community page asking what characters that you would like to see for this series. And I'd like to thank both of the people that voted in that poll. I wasn't expecting a big turnout, so I'm glad to get some feedback. And I said one of the choices was Cobra characters, like non-specific characters, trooper army builder type guys. So I think I'm going to do a couple of videos on that segment of it. And I'm going to start with this one, and we're going to be talking about my personal favorite sect of the Cobra Army, and that's the blue shirts. I'm a blue shirt kind of guy. All the kudos to the Vipers and whatever Vipers, garbage disposal Viper and flat tire Viper and all of those guys. But for us people that started out in the 80s with these guys, I don't know how anybody can like anybody more than the OG Cobra troops. So I'm going to take a look at all of them today, and they're not going to be real in depth. You know what they are, just kind of talk about the characters a little bit. But we're going to be looking at the Blue Shirt Army. We're going to be talking about number 12, Cobra Trooper, who I just did a review on because I did not have that guy open and I needed him open for this video. So we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about number 24, the Cobra Infantry, number 37, the Cobra Officer, and number 68, which is one of my favorite sets that's come out yet, the Cobra Valkyries, finally giving us some female Cobra Troopers like we did see once in a while in the cartoon and whatnot. So those are some of my favorites. So we're going to take a look at them, kind of go over a little bit of the history of those characters and what I think they mean to G.I. Joe. So let's take a look. All right, let's get down to it. I've got some examples of them set up here and some examples of the old ones, and I like to do some media they're featured in. Sorry, this is a little off center here, but set this camera up a different way, and it's never going to be the same way twice, so I hope that don't bother anybody. So anyway, these are my original figures. This is the Cobra, the enemy. Basically, this was the Cobra Trooper, and mine is this guy right here, Cobra Soldier. I've got the 1983 version because he's got the swivel arm. The 82 did not have the swivel arm, and he was also just referred to as Cobra. And then over here is my poor officer who's seen better days. He had such a good time on shore leave that his crotch broke off and the poor guy fell apart, as is what happens to many of us when we have a good time on shore leave. So that's my guys. They got a lot of play. I think I had a different officer at one point because there's no way I wound up with a Cobra officer with a chest sigil this good looking. It's a shame that mine fell apart because he has a busted a busted wiener there, because he's in pretty good shape other than that. And then here is my Cobra Soldier from back then, also in pretty good shape. I got him later. I don't think I had the Soldier right from the get go when I first started getting these guys, even in '83. Because some of those '82, '83 figures I had to go back and trade for or reacquire in different ways. My main part of my collecting really started in '84. I had some figures before then. Like I said, Torpedo was my first Joe, but most of these earlier guys I did have to go back and reacquire in different fashions. Of course, I do have the De Simone guide here that got for Christmas, which is I've really enjoyed reading this thing. I have not had a copy. I had one a long, long time ago. Of course, this is the revised one here I got for Christmas from old Pop Blender, so I appreciate him. It's going to come in really handy doing these reviews. And here I have my trusty Order of Battle number 3, and I have it turned to this. This is all you get on these guys from the comic interpretation. In that comic, they're pretty much the same. They're drawn the same, aside from the knee pads. The officer has the chevron on his helmet and his suspenders and gear a little different, but they're pretty much drawn the same. I've picked up some of the comics that I've picked up that I have behind these guys. I set them up this way because I just took about 147 pictures of these, and I'm probably going to use 4. But I thought that was a cool way just to display the whole army. But these are obviously earlier issues of the comic. I don't have them in order, but this is Stalker and Colonel Brekoff fighting them off, coming over the hill. Nice Cold War team up there. That was one of the first issues of the comic I ever remember having. I actually have mentioned in the past that we used to get ice cream cakes for our family birthdays, and that was actually a cover of one that I had when I was a kid. It's amazing the things they could draw with icing in the early '80s. Then over here, I've got 5. Can't really see them, but they're all down here running from the Mobat in the bottom. And then I always like this cover over here of 10 with the guys behind the door getting ready to ambush the Joes, Scarlet and Snake Eyes in Springfield. That just sums up so much. That sign, I love the sign on that cover of that issue. Welcome to Springfield, a nice little town. It was till Cobra moved into it, wasn't it? So I'll set that over there as we play Earthquake here. So since he's up front, I'm gonna take a look at the officer. This is the good officer without the wobbly legs and all of the proper accessories that he come with. This was number 37, and he come along in the line at a time when they were kind of ironing out a lot of the kinks in the line. They didn't have the wonky hips and messed up drop down hips and legs that some of the figures from right before that era had. He comes with the perfect loadout. He's got the AK ish rifle. He's got the Mauser pistol. Has the magazine suppressor. I think he's got a suppressor, which I must have in my accessories bag. I didn't dig out all the extra accessories, but of course he's officer. He's got the silver chevron. He's got the silver Cobra sigil, and a lot of people don't realize that he's got rank right there, and that's what sets him apart as an officer. This is one of my favorite figures. This was actually the first one of any of these figures that I got because I bought him. I got him in the wild as I was collecting this line and going back and getting earlier figures, and he was still on store pegs when I started collecting. He probably come out around the time I started collecting, but just a nice figure. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this dude if I can get him out without knocking everybody else over. So this is number 12. This is the Cobra Trooper. This is the guy I just did the unboxing on. Again, he is all geared up. I did finally get that in his hand where it looked halfway decent. I don't like the thumbs on these earlier figures. The thumbs, they help hold the guns, but they're at an angle. They kind of kick the handle of the gun out of their hand. So he's not great, and he is a little loose. He doesn't suffer the same illnesses, I guess, as my barbecue does. And look, I finally did get that damn thing all the way up on his bicep. On the officer, it is down here, and I've never tried to mess with that. I think that's actually supposed to go up higher after the pictures I've looked at, but it hadn't really affected his posability. So I don't know if I've got this one up too high or if it's supposed to be down low. Looks like I would need to move the officers up. But he's got a neat loadout. He does have the same vest and I think torso as what the infantry is that we're going to look at next. This figure's not bad. He's not quite the same, doesn't feel like quite the same quality as the officer. Of course, the officer is a later figure. He's almost, the officer's 37, the trooper was 12. So, they're a whole nother 2 dozen figures away from this guy when they made the officer. He looks good. I don't know why we needed him. He's kind of wonky there. Let's set him over here in case he falls. He can lean up against old Stalker. I don't really know why we needed this figure. This is the infantry. This is number 24. And there he is. I got him set up with the pistols akimbo, even though this is kind of a silly pistol. It looks good with this figure. A little easily concealable. I don't know what they're supposed to be. They look like revolvers, but I mean, do you see a cylinder on there? Because I don't. I don't know what I'm pretending these are in my imagination. They're cool though, so I'm not sure why they come out with this guy as opposed to the trooper, other than the trooper is part of that Cobra Island subset, the Target exclusives, and they were a lot less quantity of those manufactured. So I'm going to look at both of them side by side so you can kind of see the differences there. They share a lot of similarities. They've got the same gear. The Troopers is all black. They made his blue. They colored the sides of the pants a little different. This is a dark blue, and he is just blue with black. And of course, here we have the shiny knee pads, and this is all matte. So I'm guessing the only reason they really even made the infantry figure is to put out more numbers of them, because this guy was not as many of him produced, and the line had picked up considerable steam between number 12 and number 24. It's 12 figures out, and they'd kind of fine tune some of the tooling. I don't care for the back of the vest there. You can put his weapons in. He does not have anything to go over here, and I don't like this LMG or whatever it's supposed to be there. But it looks good on his back, and that's why I've got this guy with the pistols out. And then I've got another one back here. You can't have too many of these guys. As far as soldier trooper dudes, in all of classified, in my opinion, this is the best one. This is the infantry. He's badass. I've got him holding his helmet. Helmet's got the dual paint app on it with the black there. And I like him better with the helmet off, because this helmet, it fits him better than it fits the officer or the trooper. They look good with the helmet. I just think they look a whole lot more menacing for some reason with it off. So I've got this dude sitting here. If you can hear my dog Pretzel in the background, I apologize. I shut the door, but as I have mentioned, it is New Year's Eve and it is dark. So that means everybody around me is already shooting fireworks and hundreds of dollars worth of ammunition. So hopefully he will quit in just a minute. So now let's get to my favorite, and that's the Valkyries. A lot of people bagged on these figures when they were announced, and I could not figure out why. I think they're fantastic, and it's about time we got some female figures. Of course, we do have a looks like an African American figure and a Caucasian figure. I don't care. That's fine with me. Cobra, if you're willing to help take over America, Cobra don't care what color you are. I don't know why people have not figured that out by now, and it shouldn't be a sticking point for anybody. But I like these figures so much. They're so photogenic, such good looking figures. Everybody hated this tan web gear. Why? I give mine the black weapons. I switch the weapons out with the black and the tan, and I think it looks great with the tan web gear. It stands out, sure, but it I don't think it looks bad. I'm not as crazy about the actual tan weapons, but again, you can get just about every kind of um, weapon imaginable now in some sort of a paint job or wrap or whatever. So aside from some of the small details that could have been worked in paint on some of these weapons, I mean, they look fine and they look plausible. They don't look good because they don't have any paint apps on them. If this tan rifle had some paint apps and some more detail in here, I don't think many people would have complained about it at all. I don't have their helmets on. Again, I like the menacing look of the mask that's got the silver highlights on it. My favorite thing probably about these is they were the first ones that come with the cartoon SMG. I love this. I've said it before. I think all of your basic Cobra foot soldiers should come with this gun, and if you don't like them, send them to me. I'll equip all of them with those guns. So that's as they are. I have another trooper that I need to open, and I wouldn't mind getting some more infantry guys. I've got other Valkyries. I don't really have room right now to put them all out, but I just think these guys look so badass together. They can they look great as a squad. Of course, I always put the officer in the middle or put him in the middle or like they're protecting him or he's giving orders. I think they look great. So there's a lot of opportunity for these figures in the Cobra lore. Of course, if you watch the Sunbow cartoon, these guys were all in the Sunbow cartoon. They were, they were the green shirts of Cobra, and I actually want to mention because they don't get much love in the more wider scope of Cobra Troopers. They don't get a lot of love since we've got an everything Viper. So this is the Cobra Officer. I'm going to read a little bit about it from his file card off of 3D Joe's. So they're the frontline fighters who lead Cobra attack units into battle. Many are believed to be operating as spies at defense plants, nuclear power facilities, etc. All are martial arts experts, masters of disguise, deceit, and demolitions. So these guys know kung fu. They're not quite ninjas, but they are very formidable. They are qualified on all your standards from the early 80s: AKs, PM63 pistols, machine pistols, M16, Ingrams. Um, they're dedicated to destroying G.I. Joe and the American way of life. Beware, they are extremely dangerous enemies. Rawr! Cobra! So let's go on and take a look at the file card, also from 3D Joe's, for what would basically amount to this guy and this guy. This is Cobra the Enemy. That was his file card back in the day. And nameless, faceless legions of Cobra Command. Each Cobra is highly skilled in the use of explosive, NATO, Warsaw Pact, Small Arms, Sabotage, and the martial arts. These guys are highly skilled in martial arts. Qualified expert in looks like more smaller stuff. Scorpion machine pistol, or the Dragunov sniper's rifle, which we see back here with this dude. Similar. I mean, it's not a Dragunov, but that, it's a laser Dragunov. Um, Uzi submachine gun, M16s, pretty much all your standards from back then. Cobras swear absolute loyalty to their fanatical leader, Cobra Commander, their goal to conquer the world for their own evil purpose. Cobra! So those dudes they're really badass, and I don't think they get enough credit. Now I don't have one up here because we're not quite to that segment yet, but I also from 3D Joe's want to read just a little bit about the Cobra Vipers, who basically replaced all of these guys in '86. And you would think that the Vipers are more of the elite soldiers, foot soldiers. All they were was a modernized technological update to these guys. They kind of brought them up a little bit into modern times for '86. The Vipers were pretty futuristic for '86. They kind of combined the look of these and blended them with Cobra Commander, I think. But so the Vipers are the backbone of the Cobra Legions, highly motivated, superbly trained, blah, blah, blah. Not going to go through all that. We'll do that when we talk about Vipers. But on the second part of the file card where it has the quotes, it starts out saying if you want to get anywhere in Cobra, you have to start as a Viper. A Viper is who is on KP duty, changing flats, fixing the garbage disposal. You need a babysitter. Viper sitter is coming. The Viper sitter is coming. I don't want the Viper sitter watching my kids. Well, my dog. I don't want him watching my dog. So people have it backwards. These guys are more elite than the Vipers are, and I've always liked them better. I'm always gonna like them better. The Vipers are cool, but these guys, to me, when somebody says Cobra, first thing that comes to mind is Cobra Commander leading a bunch of these guys into battle and then promptly running away. So there are also a couple of other honorable mentions that they can do with these figures. So they can take any one of these guys and they can turn him into Lieutenant Claymore. And we all know who Claymore is. I mean, this guy here, he's almost already there. Claymore was the lieutenant, and he was in the what episode was he in? Was it? I'm trying to find. I got it pulled up, but I don't know where it went. The Traitor, the one with Dusty. That's right. So he was a basically he was a black African American Cobra soldier. Just basically one of these guys that got into it with Dusty when during the whole thing when Dusty was turning traitor. There's been a lot of customs done, and I think they did a 3 3/4 convention exclusive. I would love to see them do a Lieutenant Claymore, and his name is actually Claymore, not Claymore. Claymore's the GI Joe Special Mission Brazil dude. His name is Clay Moore. Funny how that worked out. He is from Detroit, so I don't know. Maybe he used to pick on Stalker back in the day, or probably Stalker picked on him, and that's kicked his ass, and that's why he joined Cobra. But I would like to see an official Claymore figure, and I am reading that information from histank.com. There's a wealth of knowledge on that website. And as far as the Valkyries, it's awesome we finally got female Cobras, but they could do all kind of special uh, Cobra like unmasked. But the main one everybody wants to see, I think, is Cadet Deming, and she was in No Place Like Springfield. She was a pretty ruthless female just kind of Cobra soldier in that episode of the cartoon. So that was cartoon introduced a lot of characters that we'd like to see in classified. Don't know if they'll ever make them, but that is one that I for sure myself would love to see them do. So there's kind of a shot of all of them, a little background on all of them. I love my blue shirt army. I will take an army of these guys mixed together doing various tasks. I would rather see these guys than a bunch of Crimson Guards, although they're probably my next favorite um, of a common soldier. I'll take these guys over Crimson Guards. I'll definitely take them over Vipers. And you start getting into the specialized Viper, this Viper, that Viper. Um, the Range Viper was in my top 10 this year. Awesome figure. But when I think of just Cobra, just hearing Cobra, these are what I think of, and they always will be. So there's kind of a rundown on the blue shirts from the G.I. Joe classified line. If you guys like what I'm doing, like this video, I appreciate you give it a thumbs up and hit that like button and subscribe and come back because I will definitely have some more of these. Got a lot of figures I can do in the Limelight series. And the way they're releasing figures, I may even do some new figures in the Limelight fashion. I'm not sure yet. I mean, it's not like I do anything a whole lot different when I do them, but the the Limelight is more for older figures that have been out for a minute or some that I didn't get to review new, as I said. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. As usual, I talk way too long. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time on 3 Star Draw.